Park Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar. Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or on the Scott Nason YouTube channel. It is December the 12th, 2018, and we're here live for our Wednesday edition of the Game Sports Show at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. And we're here at an action-packed night, as always, at Sportscenter Bar and Grill, but in particular because tonight is their Wednesday Wing Night Special, 75-cent wings. And they're delicious wings, may I add, as well. It's Dave McCaig here alongside Jamie Antonello. I'm going to bring in Jamie in just a few moments. Matt Primo will not be joining us tonight, but he does give his wishes out to the listeners, and he will be back on here next week. And we also do not have Nathan Inch coming on this week, as I promised. He is stuck at the steel plant with working, but we will plan to have him back next week as well. I want to say thanks to Scott Nason, who's going to be our board operator tonight, and to you, the listeners, for making us a part of your night here tonight for our SportsCenter edition of the Game Sports Show. If you got here on the Podbean page, website, or YouTube channel based on our Facebook page, which is at the Game Sports Show, you can just give that show a follow on there, and we will do uploads on that Facebook page as we get shows that we have each week, as we have over 4 shows a week, sometimes 5. Or if you got here through the Instagram page at the Game Sports Show SSM, I want to say thank you in regards to that. Make sure you follow one of, or both at least, of the social media pages. I want to say thanks to all of our sponsors who make everything all possible as well, in particular to Alicia White and the great staff here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill. And the beautiful Alicia White has delivered us some delicious beer as well.
Easy.
The trademarked, as we like to say on the show, easy, with me using the beautiful reference here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill. And also thanks to Frank Liguori for being a part here of the Game Sports Show as well, hosting us for over the last 4 years here with the Game Sports Show. Back when it was called the Hockey with the Coach, or Coffee with the Coach rather, or when it was called the Mr. Electric Avenue segment. Wow, how times have evolved. Tonight here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill, we have an action-packed show, as I mentioned, just as action-packed as it is here at SportsCenter. As if you have a Christmas party, don't hesitate to reach out at SportsCenter Bar and Grill. They got a nice big table they can put together here, and they got some good. And you should book. If you want to come in on a Wednesday, you have to get that in advance. But you can book any night. Come in and enjoy some delicious food. Wear your ugly sweaters here, or you get into the Christmas spirit. Or if you have some friends coming in from out of town for school, reserve your dinner table here at SportsCenter Bar and Grill. They got great service, great food available, and definitely make SportsCenter a part of your holidays. And I give a shout out to Hockey Night at SportsCenter as well. Listeners know that our Hockey Night discussions is usually on the Monday, Thursday, and or Sunday shows, or the special edition uploads with Craig Hartsburg. But to give a little promotion here to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you have a chance to win 2 tickets where you come to SportsCenter Saturdays in December. 1 ballot per customer. You must be 18 years of age or older. Then the draw will take place 10 days before the games. The draws that are taking place are the Saturday the 29th of this month, December. The Leafs play the New York Islanders, and then the next draw will be for Saturday, January 12th, as the Leafs play the Boston Bruins. Now, SportsCenter Bar and Grill had their Miller Lite Taproom promotion all year, which was fantastic. Got a lot of great feedback in regards to that. So I wanted to give a shout out to Frank Liguori for the continuous hard work that they have with that. And also to Dustin Grondin, the Game Sports Show's own Dustin Grondin, who will also not be a part of our show here tonight due to being busy with building his house and being a father. You know, he gets a little bit more time off than usual, but they had great work done with that promotion with the Miller Lite Taproom. And everyone who had that experience to go enjoy a Lions game in that Miller Lite Taproom was a fantastic experience. I had a friend who ended up winning one of them, and he was ecstatic, and it was a moment that he will not forget, being in that Miller Lite Taproom and that great atmosphere at Ford Field. Despite how unsuccessful the Lions are doing this year and the disappointment, still a great atmosphere to be a part of there in Detroit, Michigan.
There's hope in Detroit, though.
There is a lot of hope in Detroit as well. But Jamie, let's bring you in without further ado. Right, let's get you here. We've heard my voice for the past few minutes here. Jamie, thanks for coming by here tonight, pal.
Happy to be back as always, Dave. I mean, we were just talking about our schedule throughout the holidays and the possible suggestion about skipping a week around Christmas time, and no, not happening. It's football season. It's getting towards playoffs. We have to be here. We have to get the updates out. And most of all, I think we just really enjoy doing the show. And On the Lions quick, Matt, there's hope in Detroit, man. Matt Patricia, I think he's going to right that ship. I'm confident in that team. Green Bay, who knows if they're going to be able to figure it out in the near immediate future. Anytime you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, there's always hope. But, I mean, we've seen it's been a disaster. I think they've lost 4 of 5. Like, they're on a bit of the schneid. The Bears look legit, but, I mean, who knows? Yeah, bottom line, happy to be back, and looking forward to tonight's show.
Me and you tonight, Jamie, as a couple of the fellas have schedule conflicts, which is fine because we do have lots that we're going to jump into. And speaking of show agendas, you just mentioned that the Christmas holidays, how we're planning that. I sat down with everybody, talked to everybody, see what the best options are for the Christmas holidays. Now, this is the first show this week that we're not going to be talking about high school football or SaberCats or Steeler football since June. For the first time that we are not going to be talking about that because, obviously with the Cora Cold senior team winning offset a couple weeks ago now, it's been now it's going to be kind of going into the relaxation mode locally for now, for a little bit. We know we've got some camp agendas that we could probably promote in the very near future and all that, but we're taking a break from the local side. But I still have something that I'm going to mention in terms of local sports here in Sault Ste. Marie that's going to tie into our first segment here with basketball, because we're kind of going to change the agenda of tonight's show. We're going to be talking about the NBA right away here on the first part of the show. Before we go to our first break, we're talking about the Toronto Raptors and some NBA news, along with some local high school basketball touches, I'd like to call this, a little bit of promotion in regards to that before we go to break. But then to conclude the show, we're going to be talking about the NFL and our year-round in the pocket segments. Can probably take up most likely 2 parts, maybe 1. We're going to be talking about last week's games, this week's games in National Football League, our predictions, reaction, recap, and everything going into this week's pivotal playoff implications in terms of games. So you can definitely await that. Will be great news from Jamie and us here tonight. Now, speaking of agendas going forward, tonight that is our show agenda. In terms of the overall appearance of show's agenda, tonight obviously we're at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. We will be at Northern Superior tomorrow. Myself, Dane, and Justin will be on location at 6:30. We plan to have a couple Sault College Cougars hockey players come by as guests. Haven't been confirmed as of yet, but most likely will possibly be Austin Rowe. Is one that is confirmed to potentially come on by. Things might change in regards to that because it is exam season. So, there might be some scheduling reconfigurations with that of sorts. But Justin, Day, and I will have an action-packed show planned for you in terms of local hockey, professional hockey, and also lots of baseball news to touch on tomorrow as well on our Thursday show from Northern Superior Brewing Company. We will have a show at Icebreakers on Sunday. Now, I will say we did not have a show this past week at Icebreakers as promised and as promoted on Monday. I know we had some readjustments last week. It's been kind of conflicting in terms of my schedule, in terms of outside of here, and also some of the analysts, especially with Brad Cochemilio being really busy locally. But myself and Brad will be there on Sunday this week, and alongside we'll have Coach John Parco will actually be coming by either tomorrow or on Sunday. It'll be one of the two. So either be at Northern on Thursday or he'll be there on Sunday. So we're trying to figure everything out, but for sure we'll be at Northern tomorrow at 6:30, and we will be at Icebreakers at around 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. Now, going forward, future shows: Northern Superior Brewing Company show, Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill show, and the Wicked Sister are in their last week of shows this week. The Wicked Sister already had the show Monday. We no longer have a show until after Christmas. I should stress that we will be back in the new year, which will be January the 7th. We'll be at the Wicked Sister for our next show, and that is January 7th. Again, myself, Scott, and Nathan will be back at the Wicked Sister, so we'll have time off from now until then. Now, with our Thursday show, this will be our last show of the 2018 calendar year at Northern Superior Brewing Company. We'll be back at Northern Superior Brewing Company on the 3rd of January after that. On Sunday with the Icebreakers show, that will be our last show of the 2018 calendar year this Sunday. We will not be back until the 6th of January for that, but please keep an eye on our Facebook page because we might have some bonus uploads because the Hounds do play after Christmas, and Craig Hartsburg will also have special edition uploads throughout the holidays he wants to have. He doesn't want to take time off, does Craig Hartsburg, so he may have some uploads. If not, Craig's editions will be back starting that week of January the 1st, December the 31st range as well again. So Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. These are the last shows of the 2018 calendar year until the new year. But, as Jamie said, the Sportscenter Bar and Grill shows, we will have a show obviously here tonight because we're here with you. We'll have a show next Wednesday as well. Then the following week, we will have a show on the 27th at noon here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. A different time. It is a different time. I'm on holidays. Jamie's off from then in terms of our work schedule. We will not be here on Wednesday the usual time, but we're going to make sure we get a show in that week because that's a big week in the National Football League. And then we'll be going back to January the 2nd the following week. So we will be not having any Christmas holidays at all here with our Sportscenter Bar and Grill show due to the busyness of the football season. So just another reminder, Wicked Sister Show, we're now done until January the 7th. Thursday, Northern Spirit Brewing Company this week will be the last show until January the 3rd. Icebreakers, this will be the last show until January the 6th. But please keep an eye on bonus uploads. Sportscenter Bar and Grill shows are not taking a break. So Jamie doesn't get holidays. Primo doesn't get holidays. And truly, I don't get holidays because what are holidays? But speaking of holidays, Christmas is around the corner. And very, very excited for that indeed. Now, a little bit longer of an introduction, but we had to make sure we got all the promotions out here and also gave you the agenda. If there's any issues in terms of clarity of the agenda, you can reach out to myself, Scott Neeson, comment below, or reach out to any of our analysts, Jamie Antonello included, in terms of our agenda going forward for the show. Now, if you want to be a special fan guest for the show, much like Anthony Miller was or like Mark Orlando was, don't hesitate to reach out because going into the new year, we will have a fan guest coming on again, and that's where you get to join us here on the panel for any show you want. The Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Sunday show, you get to join us and be a part of the crew for about 15, 20 minutes, giving your input on the particular sports topic of your choice. So definitely submit your questions if you have any issues, but most importantly, submit if you want to be a fan guest on the show as well. Jamie, let's get into the show. Let's do that. Let's jump on into it. We're going to jump in with basketball. It's the first time we've fixed the agenda around since June, which is very strange. I feel like I'm jumping into a newer vehicle and about to drive away or about to try a different kind of beer or a different kind of food I've never tried. You know, it's a little bit over the edge there. But we like to have fun here, Jamie. Let's talk NBA, the Toronto Raptors. Tonight they're in Golden State. While we're recording, actually they're on. The tip-off just occurred there in the Golden State. Kawhi Leonard's out with a bruised hip. It seems like if any type of injury just crawls up to get Kawhi, it seems like it hits him right in the hip, pun intended. But the Raptors had the upper hand on the last matchup when they played Golden State at home, winning in overtime. Obviously, they had a nice win against the Los Angeles Clippers. However, they had a tough loss against the Milwaukee Bucks prior to that. And they had a tougher loss against the Brooklyn Nets in overtime prior to that as well, as we already touched on last week. But the Raptors going into this week, they have a big road trip coming up, okay? Like, they got Portland. They got Denver. Okay, they got Philadelphia. They got the 76ers coming up, right? They got, and the 76ers we're going to get in just a few moments as well to wrap up our NBA segment before we go to break, because we got a little thing we're going to talk about with Jimmy Butler and the Minnesota Timber Wolves. But sticking with the Raptors here, they got a tough schedule ahead. Okay, they're easier game that you can maybe kind of, look at if you want to look at in terms of easier game. Maybe the Heat or the Bulls coming up. And that's not for a little handful of games or so. So the Raptors right now are really going to prove what they are worth in terms of being on the road especially. Portland's not a joke. Denver's a very good basketball team. They beat them earlier about a couple weeks ago in Toronto. So Golden State is Golden State. All right, so and Steph Curry loves playing the Raptors. He's averaging almost 30 points a game against the Raptors. Seems those superb players get the upper hand when they play the Raptors. Now, with the Toronto Raptors not having Kawhi Leonard and having a bruised hip, Jamie, are you concerned with Kawhi's injury? Or should we be concerned, or is this more like another rest thing that maybe Nick Nurse is doing?
Yeah, I think this is more like Kawhi just saying he doesn't feel 100%. And unfortunately, that being said, the Raptors have had a great season so far, and regardless of whether Kawhi's been in the lineup, I'm not sure exactly how many games he's missed so far. It's been less than a handful, but they've played solid when he's not been in the lineup, and I think they've won more than they've lost when he hasn't played. That being said, he's a superstar player, and he's their guy, and they did quite a bit to bring him here. Like, you got to think, you're playing the defending champions in their court, like you gotta play, man. Sorry, but if you're, I just can't get on board with it. I hope that he doesn't have a bruised hip and it keeps him out of a playoff game. If that happens, I'll lose my mind. Like, sorry, buddy.
Remember people playing with broken legs in hockey, or
Ronnie Lott cut his finger off to keep playing a football game. Like, sure, I get it. It's a different sport, and like, yet you've seen, I don't know. It's not a contact sport per se. Like, if you were to break it down that way, but regardless, you got a bruised hip, man. Like, you're not telling me you still can't go out there and get 25, 10, and 5 on the stat line and potentially help defeat the defending champions. I mean, who are struggling, by the way. So you got to think, like, this is a confidence game. It's a road. You're in a big road trip right now, and you're going to sit out the game. Like, man, that's what people pay to see. That's what you want. And as a competitor, that would drive me nuts. Like, Toronto doesn't play Golden State very much. It's not like they're playing Philly. It's not like they're playing Boston, Cleveland. Like, their division, the other teams in their division. It's as like a competitor and somebody who, like, you would literally have to drag me out of whatever sport I'm doing. Like, I hated getting injured. It drove me nuts. I think every single trainer I ever had in every single sport hated me because I didn't want to stop. Never wanted to. So, and I mean, and there's tons of professional athletes that are like that. And bottom line, I know I'm ranting a little. I really hope it's just a regular season thing and he's going to grow out of this eventually. But it kind of diminishes from, like, how a lot of people think of you as a player, I think. Like, you're proving that you're not super tough. Like, you can't, a bruised hip, get real. Like, brutal. I'm done. You got to take the mic away from me. I'm done.
Definitely good points there. I kind of don't understand. But, again, different sports. But, you know, if the Raptors want to rest him, I can see it. If that was an excuse, or if he was injured, I apologize, Kawhi, if you actually were unable to go for whatever reason. But Golden State, man, this is a potential final preview. I want to see if full teams in the court, because last time Golden State didn't have Steph Curry. And we had you, and you took 37 points in 44 minutes on the court. Now, it would have been nice to have you on the court here tonight with Steph Curry in the lineup, see the full finals potential preview. But now Kawhi is out, so if we lose, do we say, oh, because Kawhi is out? You know, it's just something that works out conveniently for the two top teams in the NBA. Golden State's not even, well, they are a top team, but they've been struggling. But I'm sure they'll bounce back as Golden State. But it's definitely, it would have been a good game if Kawhi would have played. But producer Ghost is telling me, Jamie, before I forget, that Cleveland-Toronto plays. That's their easiest matchup coming up, even more than Miami. Sorry, producer Ghost, for being technical. He must not be a Cleveland fan. Kind of giving that away and throwing him out of the bus. Yeah, I might take him out of my ear for a few minutes so he doesn't, so I don't hear anything. But Jamie, with the Raptors, all in all, successful. It's been as to go, but some games they should have had. But again, that's bumps in the season. They bounce back. They have an Eastern Conference that they should run away with as the season goes on. And with Kawhi, should have sat out tonight, but other games maybe. But going forward, let's make sure he gets healthy. Couple points in the NBA, Jamie, before we wrap up and go to our first break here, because we're already a couple minutes over with the first part already. DWade, last game at the Staples Center against LeBron James. They exchanged jerseys. My beautiful angel, I like to call her, Jessica Alba, was at the game with Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade's wife. You know, I saw a lot of celebrities were at that game, obviously, in attendance for that big game between Miami and Los Angeles. They share that bond, obviously winning the championships in Miami, having that big three. They started the big three with Bosh joining them in there. So very, very dominant basketball player Dwayne Wade was. And I've always said to myself, if these victory laps players do when they go to different courts or different barns or different fields, and they have the little ovation when they were there, but Dwayne Wade deserves that respect. You know, it's he's a type of basketball player who's been an impact player since he's been drafted 5th overall by Miami, and I really think that Dwayne Wade he won a championship in Miami without LeBron there before. Okay, so definitely a dominant basketball player, and seeing those two share that moment and exchange jerseys, that's a sign of respect, which is fantastic. Now, going to the other couple points, Jamie, that I want to jump into right away, Jimmy Butler and the Philadelphia 76ers. He is loving life in Philadelphia right now, but Minnesota's loving life without Jimmy Butler. 9-5. That's still not 10-4 or 11-3. It's not as good as that. But again, it is still a good record that Minnesota has been, and has been given here since the departure of Jimmy Butler, where they thought that everything was going to fall apart without Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was not the glue keeping that team together. It was obviously a distraction. But Jimmy Butler wanted to move on from Minnesota. He's loving life in Philly, and now he's being the old teammate that he was in Chicago. So the trade worked out for both teams in the end.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. It looks on that front. And I mean, since Jimmy's put the headband on, I think he's been dominating. And
is that the reason why?
Oh, it's part of it. 100%. 100% is part of it. But if you ask him, it's 100% part of it. No, I mean, that needed to happen. You could just tell, it's kind of like both organizations have been able to breathe now, and that animosity is kind of going away. Now it's just back to basketball, enjoying what you're doing. I think Jimmy's in a better spot. I mean, his teammates were not happy with him, and he was very outspoken about leaving and not wanting to be there and a lot of different things. And I mean, he's an outspoken guy. I mean, he's a polarizing athlete, and he's a great player too. So, but you blew. Yeah, regardless, I think that's fine. You blew past the LeBron and DWade thing. I wanted to talk about that. You didn't even give me a chance.
Yeah, sorry,
but I think it's just cool because, I mean, they came in the league at the exact same time. They're best friends. They're both part of the Banana Boat. I mean, they played together, obviously, in the Big Three in Miami. And like you said, DWade won a championship with Shaq before when he was only a couple years into the league. And I think that just extends beyond basketball. You saw, and Wade had a chance, and it was a close game. Lakers only won by a point. LeBron was covering Wade right at the last possession. Wade had a chance to shoot up a three to win or to force the Lakers to have to go down. It was exciting. It was it was everything that you love about sports. I mean, I watched a ton of different things. I actually watched that game. It was great back and forth. I mean, fans that got to see that game, and they had a little thing for DWade on the Jumbotron. Him and LeBron were nothing but, I mean, they were pretty emotional in their post-game interview, not going to lie. They swapped jerseys, like you said. I thought it was awesome. I'm not necessarily a huge NBA guy. I mean, you heard me rant about Kawhi there, and I like the Raptors. But there's a lot of things that transcend sports, and that camaraderie, and they're ultimate competitors while the game's going on. And you saw LeBron was tenacious on defense, trying to prevent Wade from nailing that three at the end. He was off balance, had to jack it up from way deep. And then as soon as the buzzer goes and they're off and the game's over, best of friends, ultimate respect for those guys. Love Wade. I mean, he's an awesome player, super fun to watch, super exciting guy. I throw this word around a lot during football season, but I think he's an electric athlete, for the first 10 years of his career at least. But awesome to see. That's the stuff you love. I hope DWade is able to finish out his final season on a good note, and he has some success. If he doesn't, I think he's had a great career, and LeBron is going to keep being LeBron. But yeah, it was awesome to see.
Sorry that I blew right past I didn't give you a chance to breathe there, but I jumped right into the points. Trying to get through as best we can here to provide the best in terms of time, because time is never a thing that we seem to follow here. But that's the best thing about doing doing a podcast portion instead of live, is time isn't really as tracked, let's say. Now, I will get the final thoughts with the Jimmy Butler and T-Wolves thing. Trade worked out for both teams. Karl Anthony Towns is flourishing without Jimmy Butler there as well. Local high school basketball. I don't have too much to update in terms of this end, but I want to give a shout out to both Sault, Michigan, and also to Sault, Ontario basketball. It's all going on in terms of the season. Check out those high school social medias. Get a hold of the schools. If it's Sault High, Cora, Spear Heights, St. Mary's, White Pines, whatever it may be in terms of sport that you desire to look at, you can get in touch with their offices. You can look at their websites. They can give you the information provided in terms of their basketball update going forward into the thick of things as it gets more deep into the basketball season and playoff time. We will have more updates here on the Game Sports Show. We do have a lot of local coverage on Eagle 95.1 in between the hour of 6 and 7 on our Wicked Sister edition. But obviously we talk more of Sault High across the river and into Brimley and all that with the Upper Peninsula. But here on the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario side, we'll have the updates as best we can as well. But if you want to know a schedule with local basketball, just reach out to the particular schools of your desires. Now, I want to give a shout out here, Jamie, before we go to break, to RJ Barrett. I'm a big Duke Blue Devils fan, as everybody knows. I was a fan of JJ Redick when he was there. I'm a JJ Redick guy. He was the man for sure in Duke. They had a big win over Yale, which is 4-3 this year. Yale Bulldogs. Duke is second seed, 9-1. RJ Barrett, Canadian. They call him the next first overall guy. Look at Andrew Wiggins comparisons. He's not Bennett comparisons. Sorry, Cleveland. Had to give that jab out there. I know we have Cleveland listeners. 30 points. 7 rebounds, 6 assists in that game. That guy's a stud. Zion Williamson's another stud for Duke. Cam Reddish, another stud for Duke. This team is a very good basketball team there with the NCAA.
Oh, yeah, and the unfortunate part is they got a lot of one-and-dones on the roster. They're going to go to the NBA next year, but, I mean, that's kind of what Duke and a couple of these programs have built up to. Kansas and North Carolina, like a lot of the big teams that are constantly, but Duke especially. I mean, they had a massive recruiting class come in, headlined by Zion and all those guys. But you spoke to the Yale game. I love the Duke crowd. They're savage, but in the best way. I think it was like 90-60 or something. It was late in the fourth quarter, and the Duke crowd was yelling, "We want Harvard," and they're playing Yale. I was dying. I thought it was amazing. That's the stuff why you love college sports. It's not over the line. It's hilarious. It's great. It's exactly why going to college games is, in my opinion, a lot more exciting, and it's crazier just from that student atmosphere than it is a professional game. Professional games are amazing, don't get me wrong, but I love going to college games just from that atmosphere, the crowd going crazy, and the student section's really leading the charge there and really making it a great experience.
Go Duke. That league, though, let me say, when you look at teams that they have with Kansas, North Carolina, you want to go to like the Big 12 with UNC being there as well, or if you want to go to, obviously, with, I'm trying to think of some names more on as the top of my head as I go along here. Texas, Oklahoma, right? There's teams like that. Sorry, a little brain fart there. It's very exciting in the NCAA basketball this year. I think it's going to be one of the more exciting March Madnesses this year, much because I'm biased with RJ being on Duke. Definitely watching him, but I really feel that there's a lot of good talent on that court that we have seen in a long time in the NCAA, just all in all in general, and teams are really doing successful. You look at the Mountain West with Fresno State being 7-2. You want to go Indiana State and Missouri Valley kind of conference. It's so early, very, very early. Toledo right now is 9-1 in the MAC West. You want to go to the MAC East, you have the team that's running away. There's Kent State. Wow, Kent State. Very early, like you said, but there's a lot of teams that have talent that you wouldn't think that would be that talented, but they're working hard on the court. But then you got the teams that have the talented players like Duke, like Kansas, Carolina, UNC, obviously Carolina, as I mentioned there, sorry. Going to be an exciting March Madness this year, I feel like.
The unfortunate part, right, is the MAC conference and those lesser as you say, lesser conferences. They're outside of the Power 5. Yeah. They won't get high rankings, no. But that's also why March Madness is amazing, because sometimes you'll get a team that's 27-12 coming in. They're like an 11 seed, and they go on a run and make the Elite Eight. Yeah. That's exactly why March Madness is great. And yeah, they don't get national coverage. You don't see them a ton, but that's why college sports are amazing. College basketball, everything leads up to March Madness. That's what everybody lives for. Personally, I'm excited to watch Duke as a 1 seed and Zion dunk over a 16 seed in the first round. I think that's going to be amazing. But otherwise, love the tournament. Can't wait. I mean, college basketball is awesome. I think it's just heating up. There's always good upsets. Duke highlights are going to be insane the rest of the season. They already have been. So I'm excited.
Raptors, if you lose Kawhi, get RJ. Get that first overall pick somehow. Or do both. Not good. But Michigan listeners, I know we got good Michigan Wolverines. You guys are 10-0 this year to this point. Michigan's looking pretty solid as well. Now, Jamie, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're jumping into football, bud. We went a little bit extended with our basketball coverage and our agendas, and we got carried away. And, we had to jump into some NCAA basketball. It was requested by the own Scott Nason and talk a little bit more about that. We're going to talk about some NCAA college football as well. Then I'm going to let you kind of spearhead when we have our In the Pocket segment to wrap up our show. My professor from Algoma University asked if we talked about that a lot on our show because of him being a newer listener that wants to chime on in. So we're going to talk more NCAA college football. But you know what? Here's the thing. It's always been requested. And we've always talked about it, but it hasn't been a weekly thing. We're going to attempt to make it as weekly as possible, especially with our time constraints, try to fit in with our In the Pocket segment, especially since In the Pocket's year-round now. I'm sure we'll have time to fit everything in. Listeners, don't go anywhere. We're going to pay our bills, drink our beverages, eat our food. You're going to hear from our sponsors. When we come back, we're jumping into In the Pocket. Hut. Like that? Be right back after these messages. The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Play Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company, it's a northern thing.
Hi, it's Craig Hartsburg, former NHL player and NHL coach. Welcome to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig. You're listening to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Zoo's only local, regional, national sports show. Something that I forgot to mention off the top. The producer Ghost does not let me live down right now. But you're listening to the show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or on the Scott Nason YouTube channel. I'm alongside Jamie Antonello here at a packed Sportscenter Bar and Grill for its famous 75-cent wing nights. Delicious wings, great beverages. Molson products are flowing. A lot of flow going on here. I think a lot of people are enjoying the Molson products as well, along with some pizza too. Not just wings. They got good pizza here. Good sandwiches, especially that Philly steak sandwich. Holy, delicious to have. But we're promoting the wings. 75-cent wing nights here on Wednesdays. And if you can't hear us, listeners, if there's any clarity issues, don't hesitate to comment below as well with that. You might have got here through our Facebook page or Instagram page at The Game Sports Show, at The Game Sports Show SSM, respectively. Give those shows a follow. And don't hesitate to navigate. I know when you look at our Instagram page, not too much navigate this time, but that will be changing going into the new year, especially with contest giveaways and our trivia giveaways on our Facebook page. Jamie, we're going to jump into In the Pocket. Hut. As I said before, we wrapped up our first part, which was our lengthy first part of the show, but that's what we get to do here on the podcast. When we get rambling about basketball, it's good to give the basketball a little bit extra promotion because we haven't been able to touch on it as much the last couple weeks because of local football, rightfully so, really taking over the show and football in general. But now, without local football going on right now, it's professional football and also NCAA college football that we're going to talk about in this part. We might be able to divide this up into two parts, or it might be all one part. We'll see how the show goes. But We're going to go into last week's games in the National Football League, which would be Week 14 of the National Football League. Okay? I'm not going to talk about our Pick'em trophy yet. That's for when we pick Week 15. But I'm going to go over to you, bud. I don't want to start. I want you to start this part off with a bang, because last week was a fucking disgrace as a Steeler fan, first off. Sorry. Shocking. And full of fucking surprises. As if we said, I've said that since week 1. This year's going to be full of surprises. Oh, and I did say Cleveland would win 5 games this year. I didn't say they'd win last week, but I said that they win 5 games and it happened. This NFL season's got me all sort of tingly, Jamie. Start us off here, bud. Start us off.
Yeah, I'm just going to do the rundown here, and Dave, if you want to jump in, you poke me, and we'll go through it here. But the Thursday night game, we started with Derrick Henry with a performance for the ages. Yours truly had him on his fantasy bench. That was a poor decision. I mean, 46, I think, something like that. 4 touchdowns, 240 yards. I won, but barely.
What would you have done if you lost?
I would have probably cried because I would have missed the playoffs in that fantasy league. But New Orleans got some redemption against Tampa Bay. Despite being down 14-3 in that game, they came back on the road. You knew New Orleans was going to be hungry for that. And especially with the Rams losing to Chicago, which I'll get to in a minute, that means New Orleans controls their own destiny in the NFC now. The Jets defeating Buffalo in Buffalo in a really tight game. We talked about that as kind of a snooze fest last week. It was actually a decently exciting game, despite that neither team's going to make the playoffs, and it really has no implications. Cleveland, let's go. The land, Baker, Dave and I were talking about this off air. There is potential for Cleveland to win that division, and it is terrifying for Dave, and I love watching him squirm, but there's legit shot in the way Baker's playing. They're defeating quality opponents, and who Baltimore and Pittsburgh has to play left? Wild. Green Bay knew they were going to have some redemption. Aaron Rodgers came out to play home game. You knew they were going to lose another one at home, defeating Atlanta 34-20. Indy, I was riding the hot hands last week, quarterbacks, wildcard teams, and most of them have performed well. Defeating Houston, snapping their 9-game winning streak. Indy has a legit shot. They kind of control their own destiny now as far as making a playoff spot, defeating Houston 24-21 in Houston. Kansas City and Baltimore might have been the game of the week. Super exciting. You had Kansas City winning 27-24 in overtime. Baltimore had a great game plan. Their defense played stellar, but Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill are just that good. 4th and 9, almost no time left in the fourth quarter. Pat Mahomes throws the ball 45 yards down the field. Tyreek runs back to it, gets him down. They end up scoring on that drive, force it to overtime, kick a field goal to win. Exciting game. Lamar Jackson was dominant. Baltimore had the run game going. Man, I love football. All right, Miami, New England. The Miami Miracle. Can you believe it actually happened? I barely can still. Only a couple laterals. Kenyon Drake making everybody look silly, including Gronk. But, I mean, Gronk doesn't play defense. Unfortunately, they threw him out there one play too early for the Hail Mary. Should have kept the safety on the field. He probably makes that tackle at the 2-yard line. Regardless, New England's going to use that as fuel. I don't think they lose another game this year. The Giants absolutely shellacking the Washington Redskins, who were on their 4th quarterback for the season now. But Saquon Barkley having a game. Offensive line dominated. Wasn't an issue. I think it was 30-0 at one point. Giants by 1 million. The Chargers beating Cincinnati in a bit of a grinded game at home. Unfortunately for the Chargers, every single home game doesn't feel like a home game because everybody else's fans travel so well and nobody goes to those games from LA. San Fran with an upset over Denver, especially after the way Denver's been playing the last couple weeks. I love football, and this just makes everything chaotic. The next 3 weeks are going to be insane. I can't wait to watch it. Detroit getting it done. They should have got the win on the road, and they do, 17-3. Stellar defense. They really shut down Arizona's offense, and that's why I said earlier in the program that Matt Patricia is really right in the ship there. I think they're doing good. Philly and Dallas, another great game. Amari Cooper having a game, and Dallas really has basically set themselves on the path to win that division. That was a must-win game. for both teams, and Dallas got it done. They're going to win that division. Oakland and Pittsburgh. Dave, I have a feeling you're going to want to jump in here at one point. What happened to you, Pittsburgh? Derek Carr with a couple of late touchdown passes. Unbelievable, including one with 20 seconds left. All I can say is that Pittsburgh scored too quickly. There was 2.5 minutes left, I think, when Oakland got the ball back. Down 4. Unbelievable. If Pittsburgh would have won that game, I mean, they almost could have lost out and still won the division. Now it's up for grabs. It's iffy. I love every minute of it. I know Dave doesn't, but I'm sure we'll get his comments in a minute. And then the LA Rams proving that they are human. The Chicago Bears. The Bears. I called it. I'm going to rub it in Dave's face for a while. Love it. They dominated. Their defense was unbelievable. It proved that LA did not play well in the cold. That Chicago defense, though, they can win a Super Bowl with that defense. If Mitch Trubisky can get hot, that was his first game back from injury. They have weapons. Matt Nagy's an unbelievable play caller. Their defense is already rolling. This reminds me a lot of the New York Giants teams. Decent quarterback play, good run game, dedication to the run game. They're just a little bit more creative on offense, but their defense and their pass rush is heating up. They're steady. I like Chicago. I've liked Chicago since the preseason. I'm going to keep beating it over the head. They're going to win the NFC North, no problem. And then Seattle beating Minnesota. Seattle has a pretty firm grip on that first wildcard spot in the NFC now. They reclaim their home field advantage. God, I love football. Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner have really realized that they have no teammates around them and are both playing absolutely unbelievable. Dave, your thoughts on everything in the NFL last week?
Like I said at the top, hashtag surprising season 2018. Oakland, Pittsburgh, I don't got much to say in terms of just saying what the hell. Why? I don't. This team with Pittsburgh, even with Ben's injury, which is scary, because now you look at the rest of their schedule. You got New England, New Orleans. No, he's not. But all this thing with Bell this year, these distractions, which Shazier not playing this year. The defense has been depleted. It's just been a season of scarce times. This is supposed to be the year for the Steelers to try to get there. If they don't this year, it's might be thinking of other things going forward, if not after next year. They're 7-5-1. They've tied the Browns this year. Yes, Browns are 5-7 this year. Yeah, they've lost 3 in a row. It is disappointing. I'm disgusted. This talent that this team has offensively is absolutely disgusting. They should be winning football games, especially against the Oakland Raiders. No offense. Yeah, yes, and if Browns in double coverage, Juju's dependent on getting into that open areas. Vance McDonald, you have to come through in those big areas and use your sides. Connor, Bell in these types of games, that's where he stepped up if Brown couldn't. It's a tough thing to say because the success Connor's had this year, but I've said it. I think it's a different game if Bell's in that lineup. I'm sorry, it is. But even if comparison to Connor's good year and if Bell was there, I think Pittsburgh's a different and better team. I will continue to say that. I don't know. I don't really have a full logical reason, just from a coaching perspective. But go.
And the whole thing with Le'Veon was he wanted to be paid like a number 1 running back and a number 2 wide receiver combined. I think Juju has improved by leaps and bounds the last 2 seasons, and he's really solidified himself as one of the elite number 2 wide receivers, only because he would be a number 1 on a lot of teams. But you put Bell in that lineup too, and that's 3. If you spread Bell out, he's going to get matchups. Even if he gets their 3rd best cornerback, he's going to win that matchup most of the time. And if he doesn't, he's getting a linebacker or a safety or somebody that is really a mismatch in coverage, and that makes it easier for Ben. Sure, Connor's a great player, but he's been kind of hurt lately, and he's been a little banged up the last couple weeks. But he doesn't bring that dynamic. He can't run routes nearly as well as Bell does, and somebody's going to pay Bell. It's not Pittsburgh, obviously. We've seen that, but I really think that Pittsburgh needs to get a little bit more creative offensively. They got to figure out ways to get guys the ball. There's plenty of teams that have decent receiving backs that are number one running backs, which I think Connor is. He's proven that. He's a number one rushing guy, and he's got some receiving skill. He just can't be split out wide. Bell's a unique dude. It's like him, Gurley, that can do a lot of these things. And even like Bell's the best pure probably receiving back that's also a feature back. There's some guys that are way better at receiving than they are at rushing in between the tackles. Don't get me wrong, but man, Pittsburgh, I hope they can get it together. It's iffy, and I'm praying for you, Dave, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to kind of enjoy it, because all it means is either Lamar Jackson is killing it in Baltimore or Baker it goes on a tear and Cleveland makes the playoffs. If Cleveland makes the playoffs, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to be so excited.
I'm worried. I'm panicking. Is it the Leaf fan in me? Maybe. Listen, I've been up 4-1 in a game and lost in overtime to Boston in 2013. I've seen disasters happen. I've seen the Blue Jays crumble to a bullpen in Kansas City and Cleveland. I've seen the Raptors get swept by the dinosaur killer himself, LeBron James. I've seen Pittsburgh lose a game in the playoffs. Ben goes down. That was a couple years ago. They're playing Denver, I believe. Maybe before that when Peyton Manning. That's when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl with the Broncos. I did see the win. I did see Hines Ward make that catch. I did see Harrison make a 100-yard run and literally friggin' almost faint and almost need just an ambulance to get out of the field. I've seen problem moments as a Steeler fan. But again, Steelers, no defense. I seem to love teams with no defense. Leafs, Steelers, Jays, actually no, Kevin Plyer. But we're getting off topic. But I'm just saying Steelers need to smarten up, because not only are fans worried, but they should be worried, Jamie. The Browns have a chance. I don't care about this 1% BS. No, it's not 1%. I bet you the Browns have a 30% chance. I'm going that high. And here's why. Because of their schedule. Baker is bake and shake it out there, okay? He's throwing that ball. He's confident. They have nothing to lose, which makes them dangerous. The Steelers are like, oh, shit, man. Oh, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. Baltimore's like, I don't know if we belong here. Like, they have nothing to lose, sort of, either. Who's their quarterback? Jackson. Lamar Jackson. It's not Flacco running the ball right now. No. Pittsburgh has a lot to lose here.
No, I'm gonna cut you off a little bit, Dave. But you said that you seem to love teams with no defense. Pittsburgh has had an unbelievable defense forever. Okay, so like it's just been the last couple seasons. You gotta relax. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the way rosters go. There's turnover, and you got to pay guys. Antonio Brown's an elite player. Le'Veon, they didn't pay, but injuries, things happen. Shazier going out of lineup. Awesome to see him. It's super unfortunate. Awesome to see his rehab and the way he's coming back. And it's at the very least, it's clear that he's going to be able to lead a mobile and hopefully very normal life, regardless of whether or not he ever gets back to football. I think that's his goal, obviously, and we all saw the Instagram video of him deadlifting and doing awesome in his rehab and being able to move, and super fantastic that way. But you talked about Baltimore. Baltimore has the number one defense this season. They're doing great. Kansas City is the number one offense, so that you knew that was going to be a matchup. Holding Kansas City to 27 points is pretty good. Let's be real. They were winning that game. Jackson's running the ball for like an average of like 85 yards a game. Their running backs combined are at like 120 when he's playing, so they're averaging like over 200 yards the last few weeks. Their number one rushing offense, I think, the last five weeks. And Cleveland, man, Baker is just making it happen. Ever since Greg Williams got named interim head coach and everybody else got canned, including Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley, they've had their defense has been tenacious. They've done what they need to do. Baker's made plays. They've been aggressive, and exactly what you said, Dave. They have a winner-take-all. They're not afraid of losing. They have no pressure. They're just having fun, playing football. Look, they were looking to play spoiler for a couple weeks, and now they have a legit chance to win the division and be the fourth seed in the AFC and host a playoff game. Can you imagine? I know you don't want to, but can you imagine?
I know somebody named EJ Russell from our Monday show is probably just full excited, if you know what I'm saying. Appropriately saying. Okay. That's all I can appropriately say. I'll leave it at that. But worried, Jamie. But before I flip our microphone on the thing here, the Steelers have New England this week. Fucking wake up. That's all I got. Jesus. Fuck. Yeah. No. We need. No. Speaking of that miracle, my God. May I go right to that right now? Okay. That was fantastic. I loved it.
That's why you love it.
I was flicking through the channels. I saw that. I saw it on my legal Mac box that I was able to watch the NFL Network. I watched that play. I was going to change the channel, but I went to the kitchen to grab a nice beverage and make a little snack. I look up lateral. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Then Drake gets the ball and runs. I'm like, what the hell? Then I was yelling at Dane in the apartment, get your ass out here. Look at this shit. And he runs. I was like, holy man. Like, it was absolutely insane. I'm glad I had it on that game. New England and Miami, that was a good football game. I did say Miami was going to win that football game. I didn't choose them. Miami has New England's number, man. They just do. And I hope that they watch that tape, Pittsburgh, and do some laterals. I don't know, because Gronk running back at the end, there was Gronk. Guy, he had a hard time. Yeah, he didn't have a hard time. But I love that game. That's why you love football. And that goes back to my point of hashtag surprising 2018-2019 year. This year has been so entertaining. It's been one of the most entertaining NFL seasons.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, what a game. I love that it already a bunch of different iterations of the Miami Miracle, as they're labeling it, including an 8-bit Tecmo Bowl video came out. And the best part is they show it in slow motion, and it just looks so much slower because it's Tecmo Bowl. And the final image is Gronk lying face down. It says sad Gronk. Hilarious. And I mean, I said it before. They threw Gronk out there to play early. There was 7 seconds left. I think they should have planned. They were on like their 35, so you know they're not going to be able to throw a Hail Mary that far. It's not Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. It's Tannehill. I think they should have kept Gronk on the sideline for one more. And if they threw a quick out or something fast, then you put him up for the last play. But God, I love football. Unbelievable. I really feel bad for your Pittsburgh Steelers, Dave, because now they have to play New England, who's going to be pissed following that crazy loss.
Yeah, no. I'm excited about the last few weeks, but I'm very nervous. I'm shaking. I'm really shaking. Bears and Rams. Bears beat the Rams, and they only held them to 6 points. 6 points the Bears held them back to. Goff, 4 INTs.
0 in the second half.
No points second half. Mr. Trubisky only had 110 yards.
He threw 3 picks, too.
3 picks. Brutal. Jordan Howard at 101 yards rushing, though. Fantastic. If you want to go there. But, if you want to look at the defense, Khalil Mack had a good game. Shirak McInnes had a great game. Prince Amukamara. Damn, I never get last names right on the show. Rocky Smith, Kyle Fuller, Akeem Hicks. These guys had great football games, man. But even the Rams defensively had a decent football game. LaMarcus Joyner, Donovan Sue had a good football game. Aqib Talib had a good game.
Here's the big stat, though. Aaron Donald, 0 sacks. That's the big one. And I mean, they were winning the game, so they didn't get a chance to rush the passer. Chicago made a point of running the football. And that was part of it.
I think the only sack was John Franklin's sack. I think that was the only sack in the game. Interceptions. You had a couple guys get some picks on the Rams side, the Bears side. Obviously, it just right now. And I love Aaron Donald's thing though, where he says, "We'll be fine." Good football teams lose games.
They will be.
Good hockey teams lose games. Good baseball. Everyone loses. Okay.
Every sport lose games.
Exactly. And really, at the end of the day, people got to realize that the Bears are a good football team. This isn't a joke football team. They're 9-4. They're running away with their division. They're probably going to win the division. That's almost a lock. The only team that's 11-2 and doesn't have a lock is the Kansas City Chiefs because they have the same division as the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, so low-scoring game. People call that a boring football game. I call that an exciting football game still in terms of defense. If I'm a coach, that's how I want my football team to play, is the way that the Bears defense played. Big fan of that in football. Tight defense. Love it. Not a big fan of Trubinsky's efforts, but, and they made up for it.
First game back.
Cowboys-Eagles. That game was the American game of the week. That game had playoff implications written all over it. The Eagles had to bounce back, try to get back in the division. Cowboys have won 5 in a row now after defeating Philadelphia. And usually here on the Game Sports Show, we only pick about a game each and talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of games because it's a very exciting week last week. Cowboys-Eagles. Cowboys deserve to win that football game. Okay? And I thought I picked the Eagles to win. Thank God I didn't, or else would have ruined the Pick'em League. For sure would have caught me out of the race after, and that almost spoils our results. But 8-5 Cowboys. Man, Dak Prescott threw 455 yards, 2 INTs, 3 touchdowns. So Zeke, 113 yards. Mari Cooper, 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. If you had Cooper and Henry in your pool, can you please message me below?
You could have started nobody else.
Can you just let me know how the fuck that worked out? Like how you got both those guys? Luckily, did you think? Because when I was drafting my team, and I have a team of David Johnson, Antonio Brown, Jimmy Graham, Mike Evans, Boswell. I have a very good football team, and I didn't even make the freaking playoffs. Okay, so teams that got guys like Amari Cooper, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey. If you had McCaffrey this year, you loved your life in football. I'm forgetting another name who was a running back this year. And obviously you have Patrick Mahomes. Hunt, am I thinking Kareem Hunt? Like if you've got those, I know he had a good year to start the year. I know we don't like to talk about him, but he did. Hill, you had any of those guys, you had a good year. But can you message me below? I'm getting back to my point. If you had Amari Cooper and Derrick Henry last week, I want you to send me a screenshot of your stats last week of your team. That's all I want to see. I just want to see it. I just want to stare at it. Want to know what it feels like to have a winning week. Cry. Lions cards. Give a shout out to my Lions listeners here quickly before I forget to do so. 5-8 Lions. I don't think you have a chance to make the playoffs. You're not eliminated mathematically, but pretty darn close. But you make a little respect. Stafford, 101 yards. Offense is not there. Zach Zenner. This team going into the offseason, they have the right coach in place. It's time to get a running back there. I know there's one available. Very expensive, but I know who it is. Pay the man. He'll probably go there, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. And don't be shy to reach out to get a nice receiver. Jones is not going to win you is not going to win you a Super Bowl. I don't think Kenny Galladay is going to win you a Super Bowl either. If you can get a nice, good, who's like a second receiver on a good receiving football team, like a Josh Gordon, or if you can go out and maybe get an Amari Cooper, I don't know if that's realistic, but Josh Gordon makes sense. You get a Josh Gordon and you sign a Le'Veon Bell, you got a team of troublemakers, but you got a good team of football. No offense to Gordon and Bell, but I'm just saying statistics prove that. Lions got to think going into next year. Now, my last point, if I'm going to let Jamie pick another game to talk about before we go and move on. Colts and Texans. Justin Heiko, I wish he was here just to see the 7-6 Colts defeated the 9-4 Texans, who arguably, had a rough start to the year. They bounced back this year. That was their first loss since the beginning of the year. The 9 weeks was their first loss. Fantastic. Andrew Luck, 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's back, baby. Andrew Luck is back. He's looking good. He's looking fantastic. T.Y. Hilton, baby. Give the guy the football all the time. Pittsburgh might, need another guy. Do you want to go rent there for a week? I don't know. You want to play quarterback, we might even take you. Eric Ebron. Sorry, Lions fans, but I love it. I've always thought that guy was a good tight end. He has the size. He has the ability. He went 10th overall, 9th overall, that area, 10th overall, I think it might have been, with the Lions. But at the end of the day, he had 65 yards receiving and a touchdown. He's having a great year for Indianapolis. Indianapolis has a chance to make the playoffs, Jamie.
I think they're going to make it.
And they can make it.
Yeah, I've been big on Indy the last few weeks. I really think they're going to make the playoffs. I'm excited to watch. The tough thing is, being in the AFC, you know that LA probably has that wild card spot locked up. That being said, they could still win their division, but even if they defeat Kansas City and somehow win that division, Kansas City's going to be the other number 5 seed. So It's not as wide open as the NFC per se, but man, I'm excited to watch. I think Indy's legit. Andrew Luck's getting hot. He's been hot for like 4 weeks. Hopefully he can maintain that. They do need to establish a little bit more of a running game, I think. Week in, week out, they're really relying on Andrew a lot. That O-line, though, much improved, and that's a big thing. You can really notice it, and when they want to run the ball, in certain games, you've seen their ability to do it. And their defense is young, they're fast, they're playing all over the place. Adam Vinatieri's nailing 50-yard field goals like he's 27 again, winning Super Bowls with New England. So Indy's doing all the right things. They're going to have to battle to be the 6th seed, but I would not be surprised if they made some noise when they get to the playoffs.
When they get to the playoffs, Jamie says, "Oh, Justin, keep your pants on." Because you're not here today and I can chirp you. Jamie, any final thoughts in terms of last week that you want to bring up before we I am going to go into our Pick'em League before we go to break. No? Okay. Pick'em League. Son of a bitch. Last week, Jamie and I were tied 124-68. Matt and Dustin's record will still be determined going into this week. We know they're probably well behind us. Maybe not Matt, but last week, yours truly went 7-9 for his worst performance of the season. I've crumbled in pressure. Jamie didn't. 10-6, keeps the consistency. My overall record now 131-77 as Jamie goes 134-74. I remain second place. Jamie goes to first. Still some time left though. The way this season's been playing, a lot of surprises may happen and could happen. And after the week prior, as yours truly went 8-8, with the week prior to that being 12-3, I've had a couple bad weeks when I could have had a chance to run away with it, and I definitely didn't capitalize on it. So with our Blake Winter Pick'em Trophy, a couple weeks to go, Jamie and I are going to pick the week 15 when we come back. And we're going to talk about the week 15 games along with some NCAA college football games as well before we conclude tonight's show. So we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got more in the pocket here on the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show, The Game Sports Show. Don't go anywhere.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsioux.as.me-. The Salon, making the Sioux beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful, new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Hi, this is Joe Bowen, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show from Sault Ste. Marie.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Cities' only local, regional, and national sports show. Dave McCaig alongside Jamie Antonello live here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill for its famous 75-cent wing nights here on Wednesday. Packed house, as always, here. As what you can expect for Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario's best sports bar, voted for the third year in a row. Another thing that producer Ghost reminds me of that I forgot to mention at the beginning. Hey, I'm human. Lots of content to remember on here. A lot of it's content that we come up with, but besides the point, here at SportsCenter, packed as always. If you haven't been here on a Wednesday wing night, you must be living under a rock because you haven't had some good wings. And in the Sioux, which is dominant for pizza, a lot of locations here. Aurora's, Fratelli's, but SportsCenter is my favorite pizza. And that's saying a lot because my Nana and Mom, we make the homemade pizza. And I still like SportsCenter just as good. But nothing beats homemade, but I still like SportsCenter just as much. Not even kidding you. Not even kidding you. Even back in our Boston Pizza days when we had the pierogi pizza, that didn't match any of this. Sorry, no offense, Boston Pizza. You've done a lot for the show, but you're not. I know you're known for your pizza. You try. It's just SportsCenter's got the pizza going. Okay, in Sault Ste. Marie, it's very hard to crack the pizza market here, as it's pretty dominant. But Jamie, getting back to the show here, continuing in the pocket segment, week 15. We got to make our picks now. I really don't. I don't know anymore. I might flip a coin. I might go 8-8 again, but I can't. I need you to lose a couple this week to get back into a big week next week. And I got to be kind of smart with my picks. All year, actually, I refrain. All year I've been ballsy. And it's been a surprising year. Why don't I be ballsy? No, I got to keep it going because you guys, when I went first for the first week, I went 12-3 or 11-4. And then I went 12-3. But now I've been 8-8 and 7-9. It's been a struggle. But you know what? Screw the believers. I'm going to ride it right now. I got to ride it. I should leave it up to you because you're in first. You know what? I'll do it that way. Screw it. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Well, if I feel like if we're doing golf rules, I should lead.
Okay.
But if you're feeling that strongly,
no, I don't care.
I don't care actually. So I'm afraid. Do you want to go first?
I will lead off happily. So I'll pass it over to Dave and he'll get us started.
Jamie's gonna lead us. Okay. All right. I like that. I maybe can copy a couple of his picks. No, I'm just kidding. That's what I should have did all year. Actually, no, it's good that I went first last couple weeks. I wasn't able to copy you. Then we could have seen cheating. We don't do that here on the Game Sports Show. Chiefs, Chargers. Jamie.
Our final Thursday night game of the year. And Dave, you said if I'm in first, I may be lackadaisical or whatever. I've had a long week. I've had a few Molson products up to this point, as Dave has witnessed. And I told him before we showed up here, it's been a long week. Going to have a great time tonight. But Thursday night football, last one of the season in Kansas City. The Chargers are hot. They're looking to take over that division. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I'm going with Kansas City at home. I think they realized they went up against the number one defense last week, still put up 27 points. The Chargers' defense is not that stout. Baltimore's a lot better. I think Kansas City crosses the 30 mark, and I think that's all they need to win. I think they're ahead the whole game. I think Mahomes has a great game as usual. I think they really get that running game going this week a little bit, going Kansas City.
Kind of rattled you went that way because I'm going Kansas City's way too, and the reason why I'm going Kansas City's way is because Kansas is at home. If LA was at home, I would have went with LA. And the quick turnaround, I favored the boys in Kansas City a bit more just because of that. Kansas City, clean sweep. Texans, Chiefs. Jamie.
Texans, Jets, you mean?
Oh.
Let me rephrase. Texans, Jets. Jamie.
All right. I think Houston gets back in the win column here despite being in New York. I mean, they're heavy favorites. This is we're into our 2 weekends of Saturday games, which always precede the Christmas break, which I love. It gives you more days of football. It also coincides with bowl season for the NCAA, and I love it. I think Houston gets the win. I don't think New York stands a chance. I don't think Houston runs away with this necessarily, but they definitely get the dub. Houston all the way.
Clean sweep again for Houston. It's obvious. I'd be silly to go with the Jets in this game, despite a week last week of the Jets pulling away with the win in Buffalo. I'd be silly to go the other way. I think Texas gets back on to the win column. Going with Houston. Clean sweep there for the Texans. Next game, Browns and Broncos.
Hello.
Excited. Jamie.
Well, after the way I hyped up Baker and Cleveland and how excited I am, I can't not go with Cleveland. I want them to win out so bad. I think Denver has proved they're an up-and-down team, despite the fact that it's in Denver, it's elevated, it's the high altitude. I don't think Baker even cares about it. He's on a roll. I think they get the dub. I think it's close. I think they squeak it out. Maybe it's another overtime win for Cleveland. Who knows? But I think Cleveland's going to the playoffs. I'm riding Cleveland hot. Until they lose a game, I'm going with Cleveland.
I'm not letting a clean sweep happen here. I'm going Denver. I said the Browns win 5 this year. That's what I said that they would win. They're at 5. I like to remain perfect with picking wins, which I've only done once, obviously. But Denver, mile high. You said it there. I feel like a home advantage for Denver. Big game for Denver, too. All right. I got to go Denver in this game just based on being at home. And that's almost the only reason. I really am pulling for the Browns to have a successful pull-out for the rest of the year.
It's a tight line.
It is. It's close, but I'm just going to go with my only way and only reasoning right now is the home field advantage. Broncos. There's our difference. There's one. Cardinals, Falcons.
Seahawks. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Cardinals, Falcons. You made a mistake. I like that. There you go. What happens? Even robots make mistakes. Cardinals, Falcons, Jamie.
Yeah, I apologize for that. But Cardinals, Falcons. I'm going to go with Atlanta here. I think Arizona is going to struggle on the road a little. Atlanta is going to be looking to get back in the win column in the comfortable confines of their home stadium after playing outside in Green Bay last week. I think you're going to get it going. They're big favorites at home, 8.5 right now. Going with the Falcons.
I picked the Falcons last couple weeks. So they got to win a freaking football game once in a while, don't they? Not Ryan's had an MVP-type season statistically. Poor guys have to show for it. Falcons, though, they're going to go over the Cardinals like it's nothing this week, I think. I think Matt Ryan's going to put a clinic on against the Cardinals. I'm predicting 3-touchdown win. This is my big win of the week. Big win of the week. Bengals, Raiders. Raiders, couldn't you save your spoiler for this week? Holy Christ. Shit. I don't even know who to pick, but Jamie gets to go first.
Man, talk about a meaningless game, ultimately. I think I'm going to go with Oakland here, though. Just kind of rolling the dice. I think Cincinnati's irrelevant in that division. I don't think they're going to finish. I think they're going to finish 5-11. They're 5-8 right now. I don't think they're going to win any of their next 3 games. I think Oakland is going to win just enough to get a crappy pick in the draft. I think they're going to finish 6-10 instead of 3-13, which would have got them a top 4, top 2 pick potentially. I'm going with Oakland.
I had this type for Oakland before I put it in because I need these teams that Pittsburgh has in the division to lose. So, you know what my pick is? Oakland playing spoiler again. Assholes. Minnesota, Miami. Jamie.
Well, here we go. I can't believe Minnesota is 7-point favorites at home. I think this is a crazy game. I think the fact that it's indoors helps Miami personally, I think. Being a hot weather team, we saw what LA couldn't do in Chicago last week. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I'm going to ride the NFC North. I think Miami's been up and down all season, so why would they let me down now? They got a big emotional win versus New England last week. It's really hard. I've been on teams like that. It's really hard to follow that up sometimes. You ultimately come flat. You kind of feel like that was your Super Bowl almost. Hopefully professionals are better than that, but I think Minnesota is going to be coming for blood a little bit after the loss to Seattle. They're going to be back at home, comfortable confines, going with the home team, Vikings.
Yeah, that's the only another reason why I picked that was Minnesota. Little expectations this year high. I got to go Vikings as well, Jamie. I know going forward, looking at the other few games, I know we're going to be different in opinions, so I'm fine with having the same pick as you here. I thought I wasn't going to be, but I know some of my upsets I'm picking going forward. This wasn't going to be an upset either way because Miami's not a team that's struggling too much. They're just inconsistent. But Minnesota going to get the win slightly here, I think, by a field goal. Miami doesn't pull off another miracle this game. Cowboys, Colts. Jesus, my God. Tight game. Jamie.
I can't believe Indy's favored in this game. I mean, I think it's literally just because they're at home. I'm going with Indy. I've been riding Indy hot lately. I think Dallas is a great team, but I got to go with Indy. I think they're going to get that wild card spot. They're going to be the 6th seed. I think they're going to make some noise. They've been dominating. They got a big win over Houston last week. Man, they can get the Texas sweep if they beat Dallas this week. I think they're going to do it. Andrew Luck is going to get it going. Hopefully they can get a little bit of a running game going because Dallas's defense is dangerous when you get forced. When you're one-dimensional, they're dangerous. They're a solid defense. Top 5, top 10 defense is when you are forced to only run or only pass, they're dangerous and you can't keep up with them. But I think Indy's going to be okay. I trust in Frank Reich. He's a great coordinator. He's a great head coach. I think he's going to call a good game. Andrew Luck's going to play his balls off. I think it's going to be fine. Close game, though, but Indy gets the win.
Here we go. Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to pick the Cowboys riding hot right now, going big. Indianapolis, I am convinced that they have a chance or will make the playoffs. This will obviously put a little halt in their plans if Dallas does beat them, but I think Dallas is riding really hot right now. Dak Prescott's feeling it. The confidence on that sideline, even with the coach, even though we thought he was in the hot seat at the beginning of the season when they were 3-5, not anymore. I really think Dallas is going to continue this high. The big win against Philly, the confidence is going through the roof. Don't get me wrong, Indianapolis has the same confidence right now. But Dallas, it's just a gut feeling when it comes to Dallas on this one more so. Close football game, 30-27, Dallas. I'll give you my exact score right there. That'll be my exact score. Cowboys, Colts, Cowboys going to get the win on that. Now, there's another game we picked different. Bucks and Ravens, I think we're going to go different here for a lot of different reasons. But, Jamie, Bucks or Ravens, bud?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going Baltimore, so it leads me to believe that you're picking Tampa Bay. Number 1 defense at home. Baltimore's not a particularly warm weather city. I don't think Tampa Bay has a chance here. They're not in a playoff position at all. Baltimore is still fighting for that division. This means a lot more to them. I'm going with the Ravens. I can't wait to hear your argument for Tampa.
We're sports, media professionals and a sports show, so we gotta kind of, follow, choose with your mind, not your heart. And I'm actually not. My gut's telling me the Buccaneers because that offense. I feel that with Evans, I really feel he's gonna have a big game, Mike Evans. And Baltimore having not Flacco, I think that's gonna catch up. I just feel that Tampa Bay has to win a week, too. They have to win. This is where Tampa plays spoiler. And because I think Buccaneers are truly Steeler fans, deep down inside. Just kidding. Buccaneers, come on, please. Moving forward, Lions, Bills. Lions! You got a easy game? Question mark? Question mark? ... Maybe not, question mark? Jamie.
I'm going with the Lions here. I think Matt Patricia's proven that he's going to practice outdoors no matter what the weather is. We saw that picture on Instagram of the Lions practicing outside with about a half a foot of snow on the ground in Detroit. Love it. He's a football guy. I'm all about it. I think they're going to get the win. I think they're going to... Again, Detroit's one of those teams that's going to finish middle of the pack. They're going to get a mediocre draft pick, nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. They're not afraid of playing outside in Buffalo. They're not afraid of playing on the road. It's a close game for them. I think Detroit gets the win. Matt Patricia's defense is the difference. They're able to shut down Buffalo. Buffalo realistically is a one-dimensional team. They can only really run the ball halfway consistently. I don't think it's an issue for them. Going with Detroit.
Not gonna. I think Matt Stafford's gonna make up for his horrible week last week.
He's got to have more than 10 points.
That's a bad week for Matt Stafford. He's gonna get 2 touchdown passes this game. Kenny Galladay's gonna catch both. I think, in my opinion, Galladay's gonna wake up. Lions win by 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game, in my opinion, as well. Packers Bears. I think we're gonna go different here, but I don't know yet. Jamie.
This is a curious game for me. I mean, this is one that I feel Chicago could lose coming off of this letdown, but I'm going to go with the Bears still. At home, I think it's a division game. I think they're still going to be up for it. This win would basically clinch the division for them. So I think they're going to be up for it. It's and Green Bay, I mean, they're already out of a playoff spot realistically. Statistically, they're alive, but let's be real. They're not going to make the playoffs. I think Chicago gets the win. I think Trubisky is going to have a great week of practice. He's going to be reeling after throwing 3 picks against the Rams. He's going to want to get back to it. I think they're going to be okay. I'm going to go with Chicago at home. That defense is too good, despite Aaron Rodgers. Going with Chicago.
Echoing exactly what you said to a T, Chicago. And especially being at home. Aaron Rodgers, when you have him at the helm, that's big for Green Bay, but having Chicago, the confident week to clinch the division, the election motivation, the Bears. Redskins, Jaguars. I'm actually torn between this, to be honest, because I think Butt Fumble's playing this game still. Smith's not back. Or is it McCoy playing this? Josh Johnson's playing this week. Holy Christ. Makes my decision a little bit. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I know who I'm picking. But Jamie, go.
So this may be against the norm a little bit. I mean, when you get a replacement quarterback, you generally don't want to go with it. But I'm going to go with Washington here. Jacksonville's big favorites at home, despite the fact that they are a 4-win team. They're 7 points. I think Washington's going to get the win here. Josh Johnson finally having a steady week of practice. He had a decent statistical game last week, despite coming in relief of the Sanchez, as you could say. But I think Washington gets the win. They're going to kind of keep their glimmer of hope alive with a win here. Jacksonville's completely out of the playoffs. It's not even a question. They're going to get the run game going. Josh Johnson's a very mobile guy. They're going to keep that secondary of Jacksonville irrelevant. And I think Washington's going to squeak one out here.
Going opposite, my friend. Going Jacksonville based on the favorites, the quarterback that basically no one's heard of. And also it's the defense of Jacksonville. I trust in them stopping the running game with Adrian Peterson. I really think Jacksonville needs to also get a win after a big loss to Tennessee last week. They're due for a win. This will kind of shatter Washington's hopes even more for the playoffs. Play a little spoiler side. Jacksonville is going to get the win this week, in my opinion. In a tight football game, though. At least be tighter than people think. Tighter. Giants, Titans. Jamie.
Oof, man. This could go either way, this game, personally. I think Tennessee. I'm going to go with Tennessee here. I think just for the fact that they're still fighting for that spot. If the Giants would not have lost that game against Philly a few weeks ago, I 100% would have gone with New York, because then they would have still been in contention for that playoff spot. But I'm going to go with Tennessee here. I honestly think Derrick Henry's going to be completely irrelevant in this game. And I think New York's going to be so prepped for the run game. I think Mariota's going to have a game. He's going to show up. Or Deion Lewis or somebody is going to show up. Realistically, Tennessee's defense, I mean, they've been subject to a lot of criticism. They've been subpar, but if there's anything Mike Vrabel knows how to do, he knows how to game plan for one particular guy, or to take away your best 5. He's from that New England mantra. He knows what he's doing. I think they're going to take away Saquon. They're going to take away Odell. So they're going to make Eli beat them throwing to the alternative receivers. And I think they're going to do a good job. I think Tennessee gets the win on the road.
I'm going to go with the Giants. I want to go with the Giants because I feel like, they still have something to play for their worth, play for their pride, whatever it may be. To be honest with you, I don't really know. I just have the gut feeling again here when it goes with the Giants that they're going to get the win here. And also, when you think of Tennessee having that big week last week and the way they've been playing each week this year, they've had that week based on up and down, based on weeks from what I gathered. When they got 20 points or more in a victory, they've lost the following week. Statistics. I'm going stats. Kyle Dubas, my man.
Shocking.
Going stats. Giants. Seahawks. 49ers. Jamie.
I'm going to go with Seattle here. I don't think San Fran has a chance, despite the fact they're the home team and they're riding off that big win last week. Seattle's rolling. Divisional game. There's no way that Seattle's going to want to lose and put their wild card spot in jeopardy. I think they pretty much lock up a wild card spot with the win. And I think Russ and Bobby Wagner are on a mission to prove that Seattle is just as dominant as they used to be. Slightly different way. Bobby's obviously having to do almost everything on defense, and he's a 10-tackle-a-game guy plus a big player too. And Russ is their offense. He's their guy. I think he's dynamic. I think he's only going to keep running the football more and more each week leading into playoffs. Look for Seattle to play spoiler in the playoffs when they get there. I think they're going to upset some teams. San Fran, you don't stand a chance. I love Shanahan. I think you're a great guy. You're a great OC. You're a great play caller. He's one of my favorites, but sorry, buddy. Seattle's going to dominate.
Yeah. If they had Jimmy Garoppolo and all that would have been interesting to see this year, but I got to agree more that I had to go with the Seahawks here for the likely reason that you also just mentioned, because Russ this year coming off a win against Minnesota, they're having a good season. It's all in all, it's been a pretty decent year for Seattle. Surprisingly, I think they were going to be a playoff team this year. It's looking like they're going to be in the wild card to make the playoffs. So I think they're going to get the win against San Fran, against a team that they should win as well. So moving forward, clean sweep there with Seattle. Patriots, Steelers. Fuck. My heart knows what to pick. My head's like, yo, man, let's be real here. My heart's like, man, but for real, we gotta be real here. My head's like, man, we know who we think's gonna probably win. My heart's like, no, we can't say that. But Jamie,
there's two games that are gonna make it running through Bill Belichick's mind. Last year versus Pittsburgh, where they almost lost. If James, the tight end for Pittsburgh, wouldn't have leaned the football out, they would have had the ball at the 1 last year in that emotional game. Jesse James, sorry, yeah. If they would have had that emotional win last year, 100%. And the Miami Miracle last week. There's a 0% chance Bill Belichick doesn't game plan like crazy to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. New England is a phenomenal team at home, but after a loss, that's a devastating loss. There's nobody better than Bill. He's going to get the win. I'm sorry, Dave. I don't think Pittsburgh has a chance. I think this is New England's game all the way. It may not be a blowout score, but I think New England controls the game 100%, never in question. Pittsburgh's going to be grasping at straws. Big Ben going to be in the walking boot all week, not going to be in practice. I think it's going to throw off the timing, going with Belichick, Brady, that defense, New England. How many other ways can I say it to drive you crazy? Pittsburgh's losing the game. New England, Patriots, let's go.
Steelers.
You have to.
Gotta believe, baby. That's all I got. Believe. Because you're right. You're right.
New England by 2.
Maybe Ben should have a couple of drinks before he plays.
Maybe.
Because maybe he plays better. There's a guy I know, Ryan McDonald. I think you might know Ryan as well. But he's a goalie here in Sault Ste. Marie. He plays better drinking. Perfect. So maybe Big Ben can follow that philosophy. I don't know. I know being a sports guy that you got to look at it at the right area and say, all right, who do you think is actually going to win this game? And New England is favorites for rightful reasons. But Pittsburgh has something to play for, man. That is fucking embarrassing last week. They've lost 3 in a row. Smarten up. You're at home. I hope you get booed off the field if you lose. I hope you get booed right off the field because you're not home after that. Yeah, you're home at the end of the year, sorry, against Cincinnati. But you're not home the next week against New Orleans, and we all know how next week against New Orleans might be going. You got to win this week. I don't care who you got to pay. I don't care what cheating you have to do. Steelers, if they want to get the win, they got to find a way to win. Pittsburgh, though, I'm going with the Steelers. Eagles, Rams. Jamie.
I feel like we're going to be in agreement on this one. Actually, I feel like we're going to be in agreement on the next two games. Sunday night game. This is a good game, though. I think it's going to be exciting to watch. But I think LA is going to come out with a vengeance at home. It's a big stat line as far as LA. They're 11-point favorites right now against Philly. I think Philly's going to put on a show. I think they're going to have a good game. They have a solid defense. I think Carson Wentz can get it going. This is I love whenever you see quarterbacks that are drafted 1-2 or close in the same draft class play against each other. It's always hyped up. It's always going to be good. They're always going to be wanting to play well. I think LA gets the win. I think only scoring 6 points last week is going to drive them nuts all week. They're at home, warm weather. Philly's going down. I'm going with LA.
Me as well. LA's going to be just absolutely fired up. Absolutely fired up. Jared Goff and Gurley's going to be like, give me that ball. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to run it in my stomach and get a touchdown and spit it out to the fan. Because he's a Godzilla. I don't know, I'm making up nicknames as I go. But the Rams pulling away with the win on that one now for the Saints and Panthers, the Monday Nighter. I think we're going to be in agreement here as well, Jamie.
I do too.
So, if I may, butt in front of you this once, I'm going to take New Orleans in this game. Obvious circumstance, number one in the National Football League. Absolutely hungry. They need to win this week so they can lose maybe next week to Pittsburgh. I just think that Carolina's a little depleted. This will eliminate Carolina's chances. New Orleans can play the spoilers, and they'll love that. New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm going New Orleans. I mean, despite the fact that it's in Carolina, I think Carolina basically lost their chance last week by losing to Cleveland. You get to 7 losses, and it's tough to make the playoffs. You're an iffy 6 seed at best. 10 wins is kind of that threshold that you always hang on to. I think division game for New Orleans. I think the fact that Chicago beat LA last week has put some new life into the Saints because they realize they control their own destiny now. They have that head-to-head win versus the Rams. And New Orleans with the 1 seed home playoff, that road to the Super Bowl being at home is huge for them. Yeah. And inside at the Dome, safe confines of the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, going New Orleans. I don't think it's close. They're 6-point favorites on the road, which is a big margin for a road team. I think it's a 2-touchdown win, no problem. Saints all day. Let's go, Drew. Have a game. I think Kamara finally gets back on track. He's had a couple of mediocre weeks because teams are focusing on him. He's a major weapon, but I think he gets back on track versus Carolina. And I think Cam Newton has a subpar game, and that McCaffrey is really, as a focal point, I think he's shut down.
Saints sweeping the board. Pivotal. We only had a handful of games that were different-ish. About 6 around that area, which is good. Pivotal week for our Pick'em League as well. The Blake Winter Pick'em Trophy for that, and the trophy presentation for that will be after Week 17. You can get the winner of that on our Instagram page. We still got some more weeks to go, Jamie, as don't forget I was 2 games ahead in first place at one point. You're 3 games going into this week, and we can have a big different week this season. Surprise NFL 2018-2019 year. Hashtag it. So, Jamie, we got a couple minutes left. I'm going to pass over the mic to you for NCAA College Football. We're going to talk a little college football. I'm going to let you spearhead this. Not saying that I don't. I do follow the college football, but I'm going to let you have your own segment when it comes to the NCAA College Football ranks and get discussions as requested by the listeners and also by the show's own Scott Nason and by yours truly as well. And I'll chime in if I'll tap you as I go, but this is going to be your segment for the NCAA College Football as the Bulls are coming around the corner and all the big time for college football. Jamie, I'm going to pass over the mic to you to conclude our show, so take us home.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, no, I love college football. I'm a huge college football guy. I think I've talked about it ad nauseum at times. The Bulls get kick-started on Saturday. We have 6 bowl games. I mean, it's bowl season is the best. It's like March Madness for basketball. I talked about that earlier in the show already. It's 3 weeks of absolute insanity. I'm in a Bulls pick 'em myself, and it's always a lot of fun. I usually put in multiple entries because I love it. It's a great time. You get to see upsets. I love when you see marquee teams end up playing like those MAC conference teams that we were talking about earlier that end up getting an upset. That's fantastic. But rolling through it, that opening Saturday, the 15th of December, a lot of kind of nothing games. I mean, nothing really of note. Fresno State versus Arizona State is really the only ranked team. Fresno State ranked 21 going into bowl season, playing Arizona State. I mean, could go either way, though, that game. You never know. Rolling forward, there's games each day. I'm really excited. I mean, we got to talk about the national championship semifinal games. So this year, the 2-3 game is the Cotton Bowl, Notre Dame and Clemson. Clemson's the 2 seed, Notre Dame the 3. I'm really riding this Notre Dame bandwagon hard. They're undefeated. They're still that independent conference. Clemson's a big favorite, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame, despite the 11.5-point difference on the wager wire there, so to speak. But I'm going to go with them. Kind of a gut feeling. I think Notre Dame's going to get the dub. Clemson's been kind of feeling themselves. They've had a bit of quarterback controversy this year. They have a rookie quarterback starting. You never know how that's going to go. The other final, obviously, is Alabama. And then Oklahoma was kind of a surprise as the 4th seed. A lot of people thought it was going to be Georgia. Some people thought that
11-2 compared to 12-1.
Exactly, that's the thing, right? So, but you get to see Kyler Murray go against Tua, two of the Heisman finalists, going head-to-head, 1-4 seed. It's got to be Alabama in that game, though. Oklahoma can't play defense. They're a Big 12 team. We saw that last year when Georgia played against Oklahoma in the semis, and I think that was one of the most exciting games of the year. But Georgia eventually got the win, but I think it was like 60-55 or something crazy. But leading up to that, we got some exciting games. I mean, Florida and Michigan. Michigan finishing at the 7 seed after that loss to Ohio State. They really had a shot to be the 4 seed and make the playoff. I'm disappointed as a Michigan fan. I mean, we were embarrassed by Ohio State in Ohio State the last game of the regular season. So disappointed by that, but they get to play Florida in the Peach Bowl. Michigan's a favorite. I think it's going to be a good game. You never know where those things are going to go. I mean, a couple of the other big games, Northwestern and Utah. Northwestern have the best strength coach in the country. I think he wears like medium shirts. The guy's jacked out of his mind. He gets so excited. It's like negative 20, and that's Celsius, folks. So we're talking like negative probably 30 and 35 in Fahrenheit. He gets so fired up for road games, and it's going to be a warm weather game. Don't worry about it. But they're playing Utah. I think they're going to get the win. A couple other games, LSU, UCF. UCF is always feeling like they're left out. They have a bad schedule. That's the problem. They don't play a lot of out-of-conference games. And if they were to play an Oklahoma, they were to play a Georgia, which would be a tough one. If they were to play a Big Ten team, even a Wisconsin, Northwestern, somebody that's out of their comfort zone, they could probably get legit recognition and make it into the top 4. Unless the playoff structure changes, which I don't think it will, they're never going to get the recognition they deserve. Kentucky, Penn State. I think Penn State runs away with this game. I don't think it's an issue. Kentucky's really struggled. They can't play defense. Penn State has an awesome offense. Their coaching staff is going to preps their teams better for bowl season than a lot of staffs that I've seen. Washington playing Ohio State. Man, I'm excited for that game. I think Ohio State, despite being a Michigan fan, they dusted us. They made us look silly. Ohio State's peaking at the right time. They're going to be rolling off of the Urban Meyer retirement stuff, so I think they're going to want to go out with a big one. And then Texas, Georgia. I think Georgia's going to be pissed off, but Texas with Ellinger, they got a great team. That's going to be a fun game to watch. That's the Sugar Bowl matchup. That's the last bowl game before we get to the championship final, which I personally think is going to be Notre Dame versus Alabama, and I think Alabama's going to win the national championship again. I don't think it's even in question. They're a juggernaut. They're the Golden State Warriors of college football. They just dominate. It's not even fair. All of Nick Saban's disciples that have gone on to coach other teams, he's defeated. I think he's like 11-0 versus his former coordinators or former assistant coaches that have gone on to head coach teams, which is unheard of. And it just proves how dominant a team they are. Tua got pulled in their SEC championship game, and Jalen Hurts came in, got the win. I think it's still 2 all the way. I think he's going to be the guy, but he's got a little bit shorter leash. I think he's going to really rebound from that. Alabama's going to win. It's not even. It's kind of not fun to watch in a way, but the other 38 bowl games are fun to watch.
Little extra in the pocket, a little hot extra from Jamie Antonello with NCAA football. Look at the schedule. I like what Michigan's done this year. I think they're actually going to defeat Florida. They play them this week, which will be the 29th, is when they play Florida. So that's more going forward. But Alabama and Oklahoma, Alabama's a juggernaut, as you said, Jamie. And Notre Dame. Joe Bowen, big fan of Notre Dame, listener of the show. You can hear him a lot on our Thursday show. You can also read my article that I posted on our Facebook page about a month ago now with getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. Big Notre Dame fan. And seeing them 12-0 is very excited to see that. I've always had a soft spot for Notre Dame. Those of you who know, in terms of my college football preferences, I'm an Oregon fan. And a lot of preferences because of, yes, their jerseys and Marcus Mariota. People may not know that. I've always been a Marcus Mariota guy as well in terms. But definitely good season. I like Notre Dame's progress, but Alabama's just looks absolutely unbeatable. Would love to see them get dethroned, but I don't think it's going to happen. Jamie, any final thoughts in terms of football before we go to our conclusion portion of our show in terms of In the Pocket or anything?
Man, I mean, I think I've talked about it ad nauseum today, but I love football, college football, NFL. No matter what's going on, we're able to watch the Raptors Golden State game here a little bit. I mean, it's kind of heating up. You never know what's going to happen. Still in the third quarter here, so lots can happen. But watch your college football. Pay attention to your NFL. Cheer for Cleveland just to make Dave mad. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week.
Speaking of the Raptors, 78-62 before we go off air here tonight. Staying a little overtime here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. We had a lot to talk about here with SportsCenter. So, Jamie, I'm going to let you go. Until next week, my friend. We do have a show tomorrow night, though. Myself, Dane, and Justin. I did get confirmation that John Parko will be showing up tomorrow at Northern Superior Brewing Company for our show and will not be there on Sunday. So that's why he's coming by tomorrow, the Thunderbirds head coach, to talk about recent games and upcoming games with the Sioux Thunderbirds. Also, plan on having some Sioux College guests as well, and potentially other guests. Can be an action-packed show at Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's actually going to get started at 6 o'clock, not 6:30, for tomorrow at Northern Superior Brewing Company. Be from 6 until approximately 8:30. And then later on this week, Sunday, we'll be at Icebreakers, which the show will be at around 7 o'clock, 7:30 as well, with myself, Brad Cochimilio, there live recapping local hockey here in Sault Ste. Marie. And then in terms of Northern Superior Brewing Company and Icebreakers, we will not have a show until the new year in 2019 in January, as we'll not be at Northern until the 3rd and Icebreakers until the 6th of January. However, keep an eye on special edition uploads based on events that happen locally here in Sault Ste. Marie, and also with Craig Hartsburg's editions as well. And Wicked Sister, we'll be back at the Wicked Sister on the 7th, but here at SportsCenter, we will be back next week on the 19th at the regular time, and then we'll be back here on the 27th. Mark this on your calendars at noon. Due to some schedule conflicts and changes, and then we'll be doing it that way. So SportsCenter Bar and Grill will not have holidays. We'll be here for the next upcoming weeks. Make sure to follow us on our Podbean page, the Facebook page, or Instagram page. Also, make sure to gander on the Scott Nason YouTube channel for previous episodes, as well as the Podbean page, and look out through our website as well in terms of merchandise and how you can also listen to other shows with the Game Sports Show and Butch on Sports, and also ESPN's Paul Van Wagner, ESPN's Virginia and Blacksburg. It's called The Drive there with Paul Van Wagner Jr. And he loves to put his inappropriate comments on Facebook as well, as we witnessed on one of our posts last week. We like to have fun here on the Game Sports Show. Big, action-packed, and stacked staff that we have here at the Game Sports Show, featuring Jamie, Dustin, Matt, Justin, Dane, Craig Hartsburg, Brad Cochimilio, Scott Nason, Butch Davis, EJ Russell, Paul Van Wagner, and I like to throw mine, like yours truly, on there as well. And the numerous often guests that we get with John Parko, with Joe Bowen, obviously, and the listeners that we've gathered with Paul Maurice, the sponsors of Northern Superior Brewing Company, SportsCenter, and everything. It's been great, and very excited to see what 2019 brings for it as we continue to grow. But we still got shows in 2018 to go with this week and going forward here. And also, as I mentioned, very excited to see what 2019 brings. A lot of big plans for you, the listeners, in 2019, as the Game Sports Show is going to have a little availability to do some more things at events now. Save that news for the new year. A little late Christmas gift for our listeners. Now, until tomorrow night, listeners, I want to say thank you to Scott Nason, our board operator tonight, the beautiful Lisa White and staff here at SportsCenter.
Easy.
And to all of our sponsors of the Game Sports Show as well. Without you, nothing we wouldn't be the same. As well as thank you to our listeners, because especially without you, the show wouldn't have the numbers that it does as well. And you love hearing my voice and Jamie's and the boys as well. And if you ever want to give us feedback, don't hesitate. Facebook, comment below on Podbean, anything. We love to talk sports, and you may have a chance to get on the show with us as well. Now, until tomorrow night, listeners, keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.